Get a book when you can get a look. Wow, that could be a catchphrase. Read a book when you can get a look. Yeah, we'll work on that. Okay, so those were the Booktube Newbie questions, the common ones that of the various blogs and then the videos that I watched that were newbie questions. Those were the questions that pretty much everybody answered in some shape or fashion. You know, different questions thrown in here, but those were the ones that I just went through were just the most common questions, and that's a little boring to me. I mean, it's great. It was invigorating to talk about that stuff, but while I was researching, I did come across a blog. I can't remember the author's name off the top of my head, and she was interviewing herself, and some of the questions were just kind of cool. And I saw these questions. I was like, well, there's a different set of questions that you could litter into some of the Booktube Newbie videos. So here's a couple of the questions. The first one was, so the first bonus question is, what's on your nightstand currently? One is King Lear. I have not started it yet. The reason I got it was I watched a movie called Ran by Akira Kurosawa. He started with a concept and then took King Lear and integrated it. So I picked it up, just wanted to read, go through it. Second book is the To Catch Fire, the Bob Marley biography. I mentioned earlier I had seen the One Love movie and wanted to know more about Bob Marley. I did not know a lot about his music, so I decided I wanted to read the biography, and that's the one I picked, To Catch Fire. And then the third book, and the most mispronounced Russian name, Fyodor Dostoevsky. You know how to pronounce it here. You don't know how to pronounce it here. The struggle is real. Next, bonus question. Favorite books as a child. I actually already talked about this. One I didn't mention. Green Eggs and Ham by Dr. Seuss. Classic. Love it. Okay. Next bonus question. Favorite authors. My all-time favorite book is 1984 by George Orwell. Is he my favorite author? No. And it's only because I've not read everything that George Orwell has read, or I've not read a large body of his works. I just know that this book he read, 1984, and also Animal Farm, were just amazing to me. What it did up here was just incredible. So why it's my favorite book, I couldn't make a case that he is my favorite author just because he wrote my favorite book. Chuck Palahniuk is one of my favorite authors. I have read pretty much everything he's written. And this year, actually, I discovered Frida McFadden. Immediately became one of my new favorite authors. And yeah, she has just gotten in my head. She's living their rent. Her books are living their rent-free right now. Rent-free. They've emptied the fridge. They've left dirty dishes in the sink. They haven't paid their half of the rent because they're living their rent-free, like I just said. They're not picking up after themselves. And I don't care because the books are amazing. Frida McFadden is an amazing author. Okay, next one is questions. And this actually I thought was a great question. And it's a book that I'm an evangelist for. Evangelist. That's the right, but for some reason it doesn't sound right. Sounds right here, does not sound right here. Yeah, it's not. Okay. The book that I will go to the top of the mountain, top, and scream for, if you told me I could only have one book on a island, is 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. This book is... I reread books on schedule. Generally about every other year, every 2 years, I'll have a cycle of books I reread. This is the only book I reread every year. I'll generally pick it up in April or March. March is his birthday, and he passed away in April. So generally one of those 2 months, it gets figured into my reading schedule. And I don't read anything else at the same time either. A lot of times when I read books, I'll read 2-3 books at the same time. Fiction book, nonfiction book, maybe self-help, productivity book. But I'm kind of going through a couple different books. But when I pick this up, this is the only book I read until it's done. I don't know. I'm speechless just thinking about how much I love this book. And you're probably asking why it's not my favorite book. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to explore that when I reread it next. why is 1984 my favorite book, which I read every other year, where 100 Years of Solitude I read every year. Every year. All right. Next bonus question. Let me check my notes here. Book bought for the cover. Yeah. Okay. All right. Book that changed my life. Very subjective. Very subjective. Definitely Where the Sidewalk Ends. It gave me the love for poetry, for the silliness of life. Thoroughly enjoyed it. As an adult, the book that has had the biggest impact on me as a person, a reader, a writer, is Joseph Campbell, The Power of Myth. Now, what this was PBS did a 6-hour interview with Bill Moyer, interviewed Joseph Campbell, and then they took highlights of it and they put it in this book. It introduced me to the world of comparative mythology, as Joseph Campbell spent his life studying and writing about, talking about, lecturing about. Both Power of Myth and Hero with a Thousand Faces taught me, when I'm reading a story, not only to really look deeper, I'm not talking necessarily on a thematic level, but on a level where, how is this common? Why is this theme common? How has this theme been addressed in Russian literature, Brazilian literature, just all the different cultures out there? It opens up a whole new way of looking at how you read and how stories. All right, next bonus question. This is actually my favorite question here, just because the thought process it put me through, the things I had to think about, and how it kept building on that. Favorite line from a book, and I actually picked two for this answer, because one, when I read the line, or when I read the question, what's your favorite line from a book, one popped in immediately, and then another one followed it soon after. So the first quote is the first thing that popped into my mind when I read the question. Like, how am I going to answer this? Oh, this first. So first quote is from a book called Invisible Monsters by Chuck Palahniuk. Probably name dropped him 10 times by now. So the quote is, "No matter how much you think you love somebody, you'll step back when the pool of their blood edges up too close." It's beautiful. It's haunting. The line does so much emotionally, especially in the course of the book. Invisible Monsters is one of my favorite books of his that he's written. Second quote from 1984. "It's a beautiful thing, the destruction of words." It wasn't said by Winston Smith. It was said to him about somebody that was working on the dictionary, how they're able to get rid of words out of culture. And the reason I like this quote so much is not only does it sum up the purpose of the party in 1984, but it's also a key thematic element in almost all dystopian literature. Not the destruction of words, but what the destructions of words represents. It's limiting the range of thought. It's limiting how people can communicate themselves. When you do those two things, you put them in a matter of subservience, because you have access to this, but they only have access to this. And words are one of the most important things in our culture. And that line has always stuck with me. It's a beautiful thing, the destruction of words, because, like I said, it's thematically accurate across 99% of dystopian literature. And that's why, like I said, the first quote popped up from Chuck Palahniuk because of the emotion, how many different emotions are tied up in that one quote. And then the second quote, after having thought about it, not really thought about it that long, was, as I had mentioned, dystopian literature is my favorite. And it's a beautiful thing, the destruction of words. It's so few words, the quote itself, but it says so much more. Earlier, I alluded to, if I was on a deserted island and I could only have one book, what would it be? Well, I can't answer that. But thankfully, the bonus question, 6 books you'll never part with, which I rephrased or reframed in my mind. What are 6 books you would want to have if you were on a deserted island? I still honestly can't answer that. 1984 for sure. 100 Years of Solitude for sure. Where the Sidewalk Ends for sure. Those three are locked in. I would have to have those three books. You know, right now I'm enjoying reading about Stoicism and Roman history. So today I might want to say, oh, I want to read, I would have this book. 2 weeks from now I may be enamored with something else. And this would be the book I would want to have with me on a deserted island. So again, alluding to the beautiful aspect of reading is you are immersed in what you choose to be immersed in. Oh, good. All right, I just forgot something. I'm going to grab it here because I can't believe this book did not come up. The Gift, Poems by Hafez, who was a great Sufi master. This book's amazing. Just the poetry is amazing. I would have to have this with me on a desert island. Now, it says translations by Daniel Ladinsky. There's a lot of cloud over how this book is, that he's basically taken some of Hafez's poems by the theme and then rewritten them poems. Are those translations? I don't know. I was initially flustered how I felt about that. Then I reread the book and don't care. It's just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful poetry. So, all right. Those are 4 books I would have to have on a desert island. We'll say the other 2 would be Wherever the Wind. Nope, there we go. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, number 5. Number 5. So we're at 1984, 100 Years of Solitude, Where the Sidewalk Ends, The Gift. What the hell did I just say? Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. There's 5. I'm going to turn around, look at my shelf, and see if number 6 just pops off to me. Maybe the whole point of everything I just rambled about reading's immersive, and maybe today I'd want these books, but tomorrow I'll want those books. Yeah, it's too many books to go through. So we'll stick with those 5, and then I'll leave that 6th book slot for the immersive whatever I'm feeling. So if somebody comes up to me tomorrow and says, you're going to be on a deserted island, you're going to be on a deserted island, pick 6 books, a clean pair of underwear, and get on the boat. We know what the 5 are. I can't tell you what the 6 would be. There's too many books in my office to choose from. No, I'm kidding. Oh, actually, Aesop's Fables? Look at Aesop Fable, Helicony. Okay, we're gonna stop. There's just too many books to choose from. I'll be happy I got it. I'm happy I got it at 5 right now. So, boom. Next bonus question. Most recent favorite author. Actually, I have 2. Frida McFadden. Psychological thrillers. Boom. Yeah, right. Yeah, right there. Just Frida McFadden. Only thing I don't like about reading foreign authors or authors from other countries is I'm going to mispronounce her name. I know it doesn't make me look stupid other than silly. Second favorite author that I've discovered recently, last year, Chinese author Cixin Liu, in the book The Three-Body Problem, which is part of the trilogy called Remembrance of Earth's Past. I don't like a lot of hard science fiction. I like more soft science fiction. Three-Body Problem is hard sci-fi. Enjoyed it. It was so imaginative. It was such an original idea that I worked through the science of the book that I didn't necessarily understand. Some of it I stopped and maybe went on Wikipedia, Googled just to get a rough idea, although the author does do a good job of kind of making it accessible and then still getting it at a deeper level. So that actually became my new favorite sci-fi trilogy, surpassing Rendezvous with Rama by Arthur C. Clarke. But yeah, just thoroughly enjoyed it, and I read that 2023, so it goes on the reread list for 2025. So that is a set of books I will reread every other year. Okay, so that was the ramblings. That was the Booktube newbie questions that everybody seems to answer, and some bonus questions to give you a better idea who I am, hopefully see the passion I have for reading, what I can bring to a Booktube channel. Thank you if you watched the whole thing through my rambling, my wild gesticulating arms, my wide eye. I don't know. I hope you'll subscribe to the channel. Hope you like this video. Hope you'll share it with the other Booktube friends. Looking forward to making more videos. Thanks for checking out the reading room. I hope you come back. Like, subscribe, whatever they tell you, whatever all the other booktubers tell you to do.